Lincoln does a great job with their players. They've got some really explosive players. The quarterback's an explosive player. They can run the ball. They have great balance. So, I don't know that there's one particular thing other than I think their players know how to win, and they've won a lot of close games, and they've come from behind in games. And this is a team that is as explosive as any as I've ever seen, and it's not. I mean, it's designed that way. It's not like, and I think it's very difficult to stop a team like that. And I think that Coach Riley does a great job, and their players believe in it and execute it extremely well.
All right, we're going to go to the very far left on the aisle.
Clinton Yates, ESPN. Coach Riley, do you mind telling me a little bit about what it's been like from an experience standpoint, coaching Kyler, in terms of him being, a two-sport guy and, sitting behind Bake and all that? Just what has it been like for have a guy like that in your program and come through and be such a leader on your team?
Yeah, it's been a joy. It's been a challenge. I think we were fortunate in the way that it unfolded. First, getting Kyler in his transfer year as he sat, got a chance just to get to know him, his makeup, start to develop the relationship that you got to have between player and coach, to be elite. And then, balancing the baseball and football, the biggest challenge was on him, of course, just to do it. It's hard enough just to, we all know, just to play college football at this level and balance that in academics is remarkably hard by itself. And then you add in a whole nother sport. I don't think people realize the challenge. I mean, every spring practice just about this year, this guy would go through a full meeting, a full football practice. I'd get his reps done 10 minutes early so he could hustle over there and get 5 or 6 swings of BP and then go play college baseball at a high level, traveling back and forth, very few days off. But the kid did it, and we learned a lot from last year. You look at kind of his success. He didn't play much for us football-wise last year. When he did, he played well. But, he had just an average year 2 years ago baseball-wise. And I really think we all learned, us, our baseball staff, and Kyler, on how to manage it, what is too much. And because you've got a thoroughbred like that, you've got to make sure and handle it the right way and set it up the right way. So I think we had a much better plan this year. I think Kyler had a much better mindset coming in, and you've seen the results, obviously, on the baseball field, and then certainly what he's done for us this year has been pretty remarkable.
We'll go to the center on the left and the back on the aisle.
Dan Moriarty, CNN Sports. Coach Riley, it's very rare to see a school win back-to-back Heismans. If Kyler were to achieve that this Saturday, a year after Baker did, what would that mean?
Yeah, tough to describe. It's such a unique moment. When your guy, has a chance to win that. It's been a great thing for our school. We've been very fortunate. We've had 6, and to have a chance to have the 7th would be, really something special. But at the end of the day, the Heisman, goes to a great player, but you got to be on a great team. There's not many Heisman winners on average teams, and so Kyler would be the first to tell you, you're proud of what this team's done, proud of what Kyler's been able to do, and that creates opportunities like this. So it's certainly, I don't want to downplay it. It's obviously a very significant award. Means a lot to our program, would mean a lot to Kyler, I know. But to have a chance to have guys back-to-back, you'd really never dream it. But they'll give those kids a credit, give those players credit around them. They've done a great job for a few years and given those guys those opportunities.
We'll go to the right on the aisle.
Barrett Salee, CBS. This is for Nick. I know Sunday at the teleconference you said it'd be a couple weeks for Tua. Has that timeline changed? And just generally, how is he feeling?
No, I think Tua is right on schedule. The procedure they did usually takes 2 weeks for a guy to be able to have any explosive movement, and then they go from there. So we'll see how he progresses from there. But we're pleased with the progress that he's made to this point.
All right, we'll go to the center in the back row.
Coach Saban, Dabo has said that there's Alabama and then the rest of y'all, and he's just glad to be on the rest of y'all bus. But they've been here 4 years in a row now. Just your thoughts on kind of the program and what he's done at Clemson.
Well, I think Clemson's got an outstanding program, an outstanding team. I think Dabo does, a really, really good job on a consistent basis. They have good players, but their players really play well. They're well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They execute well. It's a difficult preparation when you have to play against them. And I think they've been one of the most consistent, dominant teams, throughout this entire season. And, I always say there's a lot of books written about how to be successful. There's not many written on how to stay successful. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for the fact that they've been able to do it on a consistent basis and be here over and over and over and over and play at that high level all the time, not have any complacency in the program, and their players are continuing to try to play it to a high level and be the best players that they can be. And I think that's a tribute to his coaches and their staff and himself.
We'll go to the right in the center.
Coach Saban, Robbie General, Outland Trophy. You guys have 2 members on the Outland watch list this year, 2 finalists. Could you just talk about how Quinnen has kind of developed this year into his role as a bench player last year to being one of the most prolific defensive linemen, and a little bit about Jonah, too, how he's been a leader since day one?
Well, I think both those guys are, hard workers, great competitors. They really want to be the best that they can be. I don't think they're motivated by just winning or losing. I think they really legitimately are perfectionists in terms of how they go about their work every day and how they want to improve. And I think, Q probably has made as much progress as any player in our program because of his work ethic and the things that he's done to try to improve himself. He was an undersized guy that worked hard to get bigger and stronger, always was a good athlete and had good quickness. Jonah has started every game, I think, since he's been there with us, and he's a bright guy and really pays attention to detail, and it shows in his play because he's a very, very consistent performer. So I don't ever remember having 2 guys up for the same award. You hate to see your players compete for something, but I think both guys would tell you that if they were fortunate enough to have the success, it would be because they play on a good team and their teammates have supported them and helped them to grow and develop to be where they are. And it would be probably kind of a team award for either one of them if they had success winning.
We'll go to the center, second row.
Trevor Groves, CUTigers.com. Question for all 4 coaches. Obviously, the new redshirt rule has been a bit of a game changer this year. I'd just like to know how that has affected each one of your teams, and if there's a player or 2 that you could name that you're redshirting that you might think would be able to help you in the playoff.
We'll go back the reverse order. Coach Saban, if you could start, and we'll go down to Coach Kelly.
Well, it didn't really change much for us. I mean, we always we never predetermined redshirting anyone. We want to give everybody an opportunity in our program. And I think after fall camp, we used to always have to say, well, we're going to go ahead and play this guy. We may play this guy if we need to play him because he may not play enough to enhance his development. And then there's a group of guys here that probably need to get redshirted. The fact that you can play guys in 4 games, I think you still have the same categories, but you have a lot more flexibility in when you have to make those decisions. So other than that, I haven't seen a lot of change. I hope this doesn't become something that, players try to utilize to manipulate their career and that they always put the team first in terms of their development and what happens with their future.
Yeah, I would agree. It really didn't change much of our approach. It does change the timeline. There were some benefits. There were certainly some guys throughout the year that we were able to play in times when maybe we were lucky enough to get ahead in the game, and you get some valuable game experience that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. So I think it will pay dividends for those guys as they move forward in their careers. I have some of the same concerns as Coach Saban on the approach of players with it, and that 4-game benchmark gets to be something that these players are really, really thinking about. And on one hand, you don't blame them. It is their careers, but at the same time, this is a team game. And, so I was proud of the way our players approached it. We had a few guys throughout the year that were on the bubble of do they do it or not, and it was a legitimate question. And I thought one of the reasons this team is in the position it is because those guys chose what's best for the team, and they put their personal feelings aside. And so appreciative of how our guys handled it, and great example for our future players as our program goes on.
Yeah, same with us. We did not change our approach. We've always said the same thing. You know, we're going to play this guy. This guy's on the bubble. This guy's definitely going to redshirt. And you know, as we get toward the end of camp, because we want to give everybody the same opportunity. Same thing. I don't ever go in with any preconceived notions, but it was great. I loved it in that we were able to. We played every freshman. Was able to get some type of experience. And then even a guy like Jamie Skowski, who broke a toe. So he's a veteran player, played as a true freshman, plays as a true sophomore, really good player, a potential starter for us, but broke a toe and was going to miss some time. So we saw it as an opportunity to maybe get a year back, and it was something he really wanted to do as well. So we've kind of now he's played in 2 games. he's green lighted now for 2 more games, and so it's kind of a big shot in the arm to be able to get a guy like that available here in the postseason because of this rule change. And then a guy like Justin Maskell, who is a young defensive end that we've held all year. He's played in 1 game, so he's a guy also that I think could maybe help us here in the postseason, but. It's been good. I mean, there has been some unintended consequences that I don't know that many of us thought about, but I think overall it's a good change.
Yeah, I would agree with everybody in terms of we make most of those decisions early in the year and then kind of progress relative to who's going to be redshirting, who's not. But there are some positives. So we lost a good player in the first game of the year. We'll be able to get him back for this game, and then he'll have only 2